I was given two LG Life's Garbage plasma TVs. 42 inch for parts or repair. So I figured maybe I'll get lucky, and if I can get one running from parts from the other, that would be great. But we'll take a look and see. I should have left these ones where I found them, but let's see what I got. So I've got two Life's Garbage. Two LG plasma TVs, old vintage ones. I don't even think these are HD. They might be 720, but they also might be 480p. If we look at the pixel count on them, you can probably almost see the pixels. You can see the pixels. Look at how big they are. They're huge. The other one is just as bad. Look at the pixels on that thing. They're the size of sugar cubes. We're not talking high res here. Might be 480p, maybe 720p. Both of them are dead. I'm hoping that I got them both for free. What I'm hoping is that I can fix one from the other, or vice versa. These are probably from the era where they used the infamous IPM modules mounted on boards. And I'm hoping that maybe one might have a Y board failure and the other one a Z board failure, or vice versa, and I'll be able to pull a module from one to fix another. That's what I'm trying to do. Try to get one working plasma set out of two. Because I'm certainly not going to invest any money in parts on something like this. These will be, if I can get one working, I'll be lucky to be able to give it away. Even though it probably will have a good picture, if I can get one running, it probably will have a pretty good picture. There's a very, very limited appeal for these old plasma sets. Even though I do have a remote that will work it, it'll be a set that won't be going for very much money, if any at all, if I can get it running. So I'm going to pull the back off one. We'll take a look at it, see what boards it has in it, and then we'll do the same on the other and see if there's any parts that we can swap to make one run. About 20 screws later, the back cover should lift off. I guess I must have missed a couple more. Okay, so this is this ugly set. Lots of circuit boards on this one. Of course, we always hope it's things like bulging caps, but generally that's not the issue on these. Generally what the issue on these sets is these power modules. Sometimes you'll get the buffer boards go. Usually it's the power modules. They go bad. We can check whether the power modules failed by checking the fuses for the power input. If you got blown fuses on these, the board itself, well, not so much the board, but the IPM modules are shot. This is a Korean made panel. Standard definition it looks to be. You can tell by the few number of buffer chips. There's only 6. So this is the power supplies for the scan drive for the vertical scanning, or I should say the horizontal. I guess it's the vertical scanning. That scans the lines from top to bottom. The brightness is controlled through this one here, common mode. This is called a Z sustained on LG, and it's called SS on Panasonic, and X-Main on Samsung. So first things first, let's check for popped fuses. That'll give us an idea where the problem is on this one. Alright, the meter's in continuity mode. That fuse is good. That fuse is open. This module is going to be cooked on this board. We'll do the same for the Z sustain board over here. We'll take a look at the fuses on this one and see if this board is okay. Good. Good. So this module is more than likely okay. The failure on this one is going to be this board. So I'm going to pull it back off the other one and see whether it's the same board that's failed on it, or is it possibly this one. I'm kind of hoping that the other one has a failure of this board, because if that's the case, there's a good chance that that board will be the same board as the other set uses, and I can swap boards over and get one working TV out of this. And I know this is going to disappoint some, saying, well, why don't you fix the board? Well, because those modules are not cheap. They are quite expensive, and they're a real pain in the ass to change the module out. So for cost reasons, I'm going to try and get this thing fixed without putting any excessive amount of parts in it. So let me get the other set, and we'll get the back off that one, and we'll do a comparison of the two. Just so you guys know what boards are which, this is the buffer board is over here. This is the Y sustain board. The A COM board is this one down here. Our signal board is here, power supply, and this one here is the common mode, or what they call X or Z sustain. LG call it Z sustain. If you're wondering what the hum is, I've got the big shop light, the 400 watt HMI is running above me, metal halide, and it has a tendency to hum. So if you don't like it, oh well, tough, deal with it. I need the light on the side of the shop to see what I'm doing. So tough darts. If you don't like it, too bad. This set's a little bit older. This is the 2005. The other one's a 2007. But I think they have interchangeable modules on these ones. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure these ones that use the same style of modules. Okay, this one here actually has more tabs on it. So this one might even be a higher resolution. This one might be a 720, although I still think it's a 480. But this one has 8 tabs on it, whereas the other one only had 6. It has an upper and a lower buffer board. Again, it's using the IPMs on it. And the Z sustain board looks to be a little different. It's got different capacitors on it, but it may be a compatible board as far as the wiring goes. A lot of them were. So let's check this one and see what fuses are blown, if any, on this one. This one's got a blown fuse on the Y sustain as well. So it's likely the Y sustain board is also popped on this one. It's going to be the same IC as the other one. We could try a new fuse and see if we can get some smoke. Because being the same board that's gone, or the same component on the board that's gone on both of these sets, which was very, very common. Unfortunately, I won't be repairing these ones, as the cost of the part is just too high, and this being a standard definition panel, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to do anything other than to send this one off to Chuck. So, what if just the fuse got tired though? Maybe the module's not blown. So I got a new fuse in, we'll power it up and see if it goes boom. This could be interesting. So I got the power cord here, let's plug this sucker in and see if it explodes. Okay, hit the remote control and see if we get sparks. Yep, as I thought. The module is blown, and it really blew this time. We got sparks. Dead module, dead TV. Let's see if we can blow the other one up just as well as this one. Not to be outdone by having sparks fly on one, let's put a new fuse in this other one and watch it go kaboom too. Is this one going to blow up? Let's find out. Turn on the power switch here somewhere. This one won't even start up. It just shuts right down. It's got such a massive overload that the power supply immediately shuts down when I start it up. Here. Yeah, this one here, they've got a dead short. Like to ground, if I put my meter on ground here and we measure to the VSS pin, which is this fuse, we got dead short, right? That fuse is dead shorted to ground. So that's what's happened on this one. Is this IC is shorted, and it's shorted in such a way when it blew the fuse. This one didn't even bother to go pop for me. This one's shorted in such a way that it draws so much current that the power supply won't even start. So we got another bad one. Same part, failed on both of them. So this is another one that is obviously not going to be repaired because it's not economical to repair. I will just put these up again as free to whoever wants to take them for parts. And if it doesn't go for parts within one day, I will take it and dispose of it at the recycling center. I'd take it today if it wasn't a holiday, but they're not open. So I'll put them up and give them a day or so to go. And if they go, they go. If they don't, then they're going to be gone, because a TV of this vintage is just not worth fixing. I know some bleeding heart's going to tell me that it is, but in this case, this design wasn't a great design. A lot of failures on them. This is actually the plasma set that I was trained on, or one very similar to this. When Sony first offered a plasma set in 2000, I think it was 2002. It was very similar to this. I took training on a set like this, and basically what they told us was, well, if you, now this is early training, very early training, but what they told us was, well, if you get a TV like this, you can repair the power supply and you can repair the signal board, and that's it. If any of these fuses are popped, it's going to be the module. They wouldn't even sell the module because Sony wasn't making them. They were having them made for them by, I think it was LG. You have to replace the board, but not just the board. This shows how much they've learned since then. Because Sony is under the premise that each panel was calibrated to a specific board, and that you couldn't just change a board. You had to change that board, you had to change the other sustain board over here, and you had to change the panel. They were sold as a repair kit. You've got the Z sustain or X main, you got the Y sustain, and you got the buffer board, and the plasma display panel. It was all sold as one part, as one kit. The cost of that kit in 2002, or was it 2003? 2003 is when I took the course. The cost of the kit was $8,000. The televisions were $12,000 at the time. Dealer cost on a full television at that time was around 10 grand, and the retail was 12,000. And the cost of the kit to repair it, if anything went wrong other than something on the power supply or the signal board, was like 8,000 bucks. But they would only sell it to you as a kit, and it was the panel, and the panel came pre-attached with the 3 boards, and you basically pulled the rest of the guts off and put it on the, and of course put the panel into the frame, right? So yeah, we laughed. All of us in that course, we laughed and said, "Oh, I guess we won't be repairing any of those sets." But that was how the feelings were on them back in 2003, January 2003. When I took that course, 2-day course to basically tell us that yeah, anything that goes wrong with them, you're going to be replacing the panel, because they had the feeling that because there was, see, there's a lot of ICs on glass. These boards here interface with the glass, which has ICs actually on the tabs. These ones here, these buffer tabs, these buffers here are on the board, so there's no IC on the glass here, but the tabs along the bottom have ICs on them, just like the LCD sets. Of course, they learned since then that when those tabs fail, they typically cause the vertical, like a black bar vertically, and then the panel was shot. But the first generation ones, yeah, anything that went wrong that caused a fuse to blow anywhere on either of those boards, it was a full kit to do it. And of course, nobody in their right mind would do it. So that's it. This one's done. Now you know why I don't work on TVs. Thanks for watching.